Viktor Yushchenko are Ukraine. Viktor Yanukovych Party of Regions presidential elections were held in Ukraine on 17 January 2010. As no candidate received a majority of the vote, a runoff was held between Prime Minister Yulia Tymoshenko and opposition leader Viktor Yanukovych, followed on 7 February. On 14 February, Yanukovych was declared president-elect and winner with 48.95% of the popular vote. According to Article 104 of Ukraine's constitution, the president had to be sworn into office within 30 days of the official declaration of the results. Parliament subsequently scheduled Yanukovych's inauguration for 25 February. On 17 February, the Supreme Administrative Court of Ukraine suspended the results following an appeal by Tymoshenko. The court suspended the Central Election Commission's ruling that announced that Yanukovych won the election, but did not postpone or cancel his inauguration. On 20 February, Tymoshenko withdrew her appeal. Early vote returns from the first round of the election held on 17 January showed Yanukovych in first place with 35.8% of the vote. He faced the 7 February 2010 runoff against Tymoshenko, who finished second. Analysts predicted a slight advantage for Tymoshenko in the second round as she was more likely to attract voters from the other 16 candidates who did not proceed to the second round. Viktor Yanukovych refused to hold debates with his opponent before the second round of voting, saying Yulia Tymoshenko should either take responsibility for every word as prime minister or go to the kitchen. After all ballots were counted, the Ukrainian Central Election Commission declared that Yanukovych won the election with 48.95% of the vote compared with 45.47% for Tymoshenko. Yulia Tymoshenko bloc members immediately claimed that there was systematic and large-scale vote rigging in this runoff. On 10 February 2010, Yanukovych called on Tymoshenko to abandon her protests and resign as prime minister. On 9 February 2010, Yanukovych had stated that Boris Kolesnikov was his preferred next prime minister of Ukraine. According to him, pre-term parliamentary elections will be imminent if the Ukrainian parliament would not work effectively. Yanukovych also stated that, as the largest faction in the parliament at the time, his party was entitled to nominate the premier. On 15 February, Yanukovych stated, "I do not rule out the candidature of Tygipko. Tygipko is on the list which, in my opinion, will be discussed next week in Parliament." On 16 February 2010, Ukraine's parliament had fixed 25 February 2010 for the inauguration of Yanukovych as president. On 17 February 2010, the Higher Administrative Court of Ukraine suspended the results of the election on Yulia Tymoshenko's appeal. On 20 February 2010, Tymoshenko withdrew her appeal after the Higher Administrative Court of Ukraine rejected her petition to scrutinize documents. About 300,000 voters who voted but were not in the Register of Voters of Ukraine. About 1.3 million voters who, without right, voted in their homes. About falsification in the election in the eastern regions, fixed by law enforcement officials. Tymoshenko stated, "I and my political party will never recognize Yanukovych as the legitimately elected president of Ukraine, and an honest court will assess that Yanukovych was not elected president of Ukraine." and that the will of the people had been rigged. Public opinion polls predicted the Party of Regions and Viktor Yanukovych's win in the 2010 presidential election. In February 2010, according to an article in Kyiv Post in November 2009, Yanukovych's popularity in the Donbass was fading and Donbass voters voted mainly for Yanukovych to keep Tymoshenko from power. In Ukraine, the previous two presidential first-round ballots have traditionally occurred in October. According to the Constitution of Ukraine, regular elections of the President of Ukraine are held on the last Sunday of the last month of the fifth year of the term of authority of the President of Ukraine. In the event of pre-term termination of authority of the President of Ukraine, elections of the President of Ukraine are held within 90 days from the day of termination of the authority. Early presidential elections can be held in case of presidential resignation, ill health, impeachment or death. The President of Ukraine is elected by the citizens of Ukraine for a 5-year term. On the basis of universal, equal and direct suffrage, by secret ballot, a candidate seeking election must be a citizen of Ukraine who has attained the age of 35, has the right to vote, has resided in Ukraine for the past 10 years prior to the day of elections, and has command of the state language as required by Article 103 of Ukraine's constitution. On April 1, 2009, the Verkhovna Rada designated October 25, 2009, as the date for the first round of voting. Within a week, President Yushchenko filed an appeal with the Constitutional Court against